Hey kindergarten, today we learned about a landscape. A landscape is any picture or painting that depicts the natural land with either mountains, trees, water. Today we are going to start our own winter landscape. To start, you need the blue background paper. If you don't have this blue construction paper, you can also just grab a regular white piece of paper and color the entire thing blue. Any shade of blue will do. I'm using a light blue. The other thing you will need is a plain white piece of paper. Okay? Make sure your paper is the same length as your background. Our blue is going to be our background. We are going to use our white paper to make our ground. You will also need a glue stick. If you don't have a glue stick, you could use regular liquid glue or tape and a pencil. Okay, to get started, we are going to turn this white paper into a snowy ground. So to do that, I'm going to actually rip this paper in half long ways. So if my paper is long ways up and down, I'm going to take my hands and pinch, and then I'm going to twist and start to rip. It's okay if it's not perfect. Sometimes I like it better that way when it's not a perfect rip. Okay, so now I'm taking this big piece and I have my rough edge where I just ripped it is going to be towards the top. I'm going to take my glue and apply glue all over the white piece of paper. Making sure you're pressing down hard enough to get some good glue on there, but not so hard that you're squishing out the glue from the top. It should not look like it's going to fall over the edge. Make sure you keep one hand on your paper so it doesn't move around on you, and really get your edges. When you have that piece of paper all gluey, we are going to flip it, line it up with the bottom of our picture. Our edges should match up pretty close, and smooth out any wrinkles or bubbles. Give your paper a little massage. Really make sure it is stuck. If you have any areas that are kind of flipping up or not quite stuck, you can always add a little bit more glue and push it down. I like to do this with my top edge too. Adding just a little more glue and really making sure it is pushed down. Okay. We are now going to take the other piece of paper we have and rip that in half long ways, again, vertically. Vertically means up and down. So I'm going to take my hands, pinch them together, and twist, and make another rip. We are going to layer this towards the bottom. So this one will go in front of our other piece of paper. So now we have two kind of snowy hills. Okay, I'm going to flip this one upside down, add my glue, really making sure I get my edges. You might want to put down a scrap piece of paper or a placemat so you don't get your table gluey. And when you have enough glue on it, flip it, line it up to the bottom, and smooth it out. All right. We could keep going and making more and more areas of our snow, but I think this is enough. You can save this piece of paper later if we want to make clouds, or recycle it. Now that our background is done, make sure that you put the cap on your glue so it doesn't get dry. And we're going to put this to the side. With a different piece of paper, we are going to make some trees for our landscape. You learned all about shapes in our last couple of projects. We did our shape Piet Mondrian spider web with our primary colors, and we also did some shape animals. Today we are going to be using the triangle shape to make some trees. So I'm going to make at least 3 trees, a big tree, a medium tree, and a little tree. I'm going to start with my big tree. So from the side of my paper down by the bottom, I'm going to make a big line up and a big line down and then connect it. That's my first big tree. At the bottom of my tree, I'm going to make a rectangle shape for the trunk. Awesome. So this is our biggest tree. Our next tree is going to be smaller. Now I don't have a lot of room, so I'm going to flip my paper upside down and fit a smaller triangle right here. 1, 2, 3. Add the rectangle for the trunk. Okay, that's actually a pretty small tree, so maybe I can fit an even bigger one right here, and this can be my baby. I'm going to turn my paper upside down again, or right side up, and I'm going to make a medium-sized tree. There we go. And add my trunk. Okay, now that we have our 3 trees, our big, medium, and little, we're going to make patterns on our trees. Patterns are anytime you use colors or shapes or lines and they repeat, like blue, orange, or circle, square. We're going to pick one pattern and fill in our entire tree. So I am going to choose a green color, and I think I also want to choose this blue color. And for start, I'm going to do a green and blue pattern. So I'm going to start with some stripes. Green, then I'll switch to blue, going all the way down, switching, making sure I'm doing the same pattern, green, blue, so next would be my green, all the way down. I could make all my green lines first, then come back and add all my blue. Okay, now that I have my lines, I can go back in and color in my spaces, really making sure my tree is full of color. Taking my time, coloring nice and neatly between my lines, and I will continue this all the way down. Okay, so that tree is done. I colored it all in, except for the trunk. I will do that last. For my medium tree, I'm going to start by coloring my whole tree in a very light shade of yellow. I'm using the side of my crayon to help fill it in nice and light. I don't want it to be too dark because I need to add a pattern on top. For this tree, I'm going to do a polka dot pattern. Polka dots are circles that repeat and repeat. Remember, a pattern always repeats. So I have my yellow. I am now going to take a red color and draw my polka dots, making nice, neat circles. Oh, this almost looks like a slice of pizza now that I'm looking at it. Making my circles that just repeat, making sure I fill them in. And I'm going to choose another color to make other dots on my polka dot triangle tree. So I'm going to choose an orange color. This is my warm color tree. Making sure my dots repeat. Okay, I have one tree left. I'm going to flip my paper upside down so he is facing the right way. And for this tree, I think I want to make a zigzag design. So I'm going to start with a blue crayon and I'm going to zigzag and zigzag. I'm leaving lots of space. I'm not scribbling, I'm taking my time. And then in between each of these, I think I'm going to add a purple design. So maybe I will do squares. Repeating my squares nice and neat. A pattern must repeat. And there you go. Now that I have all my trees patterned up, we can color our trunks. Choose a brown color. I have this medium brown, and I'm going to color in my tree trunks. Okay, all 3 of my trees are colored beautifully. They have great repeating patterns. We are now ready to put these trees on our background we made. So you will need a pair of scissors, and we are going to carefully cut out each tree and its trunk. When I'm cutting with my scissors, I'm making sure I'm holding them with my fingers in the holes, and my scissors always point away from my body. I'm going to start with this tree, and I'm just going to separate it from the rest of my paper to start. Now that I have it cut out like this, I can hold it and turn my scissors. So my hand with the scissors is my cutting hand. The hand that is holding is my helping hand, and it turns around to help me cut my areas. You can always cut a little wider around your trees first. Now I'm slowly turning my paper. Slowly turning my paper. My scissors are always pointing away. Slowly turning. If you have a big piece that's hanging off like this, feel free to just snip that off, get it out of your way. It can be easier that way when it's not flopping around attached to what you are cutting out. Okay, 1 tree cut out. You can throw these scraps in the recycling or in the trash. And now we're going to finish cutting out our last 2 trees. Ta-da! Now I have all 3 of my trees cut out nice and neatly, and we are ready to add them to our snowy winter background. So, if you have your background like this, okay, we are going to start with our biggest tree. Our biggest tree is going to be closest to the very bottom of our picture, but not touching the very edge. So it can be close to it, but not touching. So we'll slide it up just a little bit. And you can put him anywhere on your picture you want, left or right. I'm going to put him just in the middle here. Okay, flip your tree over. You need your glue, and we'll add a little glue to the back. Making sure to hold down your tree so he doesn't move on you. When you have enough glue, flip them and stick them and give him a massage. Make sure he's really stuck on there. Awesome. Now you can do your next tree, your medium tree. We're going to add some glue. If you got to twist up to get a little more glue, go ahead, but it should barely be coming off of the top of the plastic. You don't want it to smush out everywhere. And flip it. And this tree, we're going to move up just a little bit on our picture. Move him up just a little bit. So he's not as far down as this one, because this tree's littler. He's going to be in the back just a little bit more. I'm going to push this guy underneath. There. Beautiful. Last but not least, we have our little baby tree. Little baby tree is going to go all the way in the back on the top of our hill here. Our snowy mountain. Flip them, line him up somewhere towards the top. He can be all the way on the top. I like to put him down just a little bit so his trunk is on the snow. And give him a good massage. Make sure he's sticking. If you have any areas that are coming up, hit it with a little more glue. Make sure he really sticks. And there is your winter landscape. Okay.